Welcome to Life Meets Jayson. I'm Jayson. This week is all about taboos, and it was a really difficult subject because I realized it's not just about name calling or ignoring someone. Oh no. It has enormous socio-political repercussions. So I'm going to try not to get into it a lot, but I do have to point out how important it is and why it matters. So what is a taboo? A taboo is a social, often religious custom prohibiting discussion or association with a noun, person, place, thing. And it's always against, or almost always against, a minority group placed on it by a majority group. And the purpose of it is to demean and to control and to force conformity so that everybody else will be scared to step out of line lest they become picked on. I've been walking around for an hour asking people if they want to be interviewed. Apparently this is harder than I thought. A couple of them said, maybe, what's it about? And I said, it's about society and stigmas. They could not have run any faster. I don't know if I'm going to find anybody who's brave enough to answer these questions. All right, I'm going to keep trying. So from what I can tell, there are about three main types of taboos, at least the way that I organize them. There is the claim to morality taboo, there's the social norms taboo, and there is the universal taboos. These are all different, but they can overlap, and the main purpose of all of them is to control. So let's look at the first one. Let's look at the morality claim taboo. Would you get off of my notes? So let's give an example of a morality claim taboo. Let's talk about inter-ethnic or gay marriages, okay? So that's a taboo, not as much anymore, but who is the person who's most affected by that? Probably religion. And what does it cost to them? It costs them moral outrage. It doesn't really affect them that much or society, except that they think society's going the wrong way. So it's opinion. Other than that, it can also lose homogeneous DNA, I guess, if you don't want anyone to mix. And also, different cultures can be introduced to your community. Once again, these might be real side effects, but they're also just opinions that these things are bad. I don't think they're bad. What's gained by not going for these is basic civil rights, building a family with people you love, and most importantly, separation of church and state. So the laws that were preventing these two things from happening, these two different types of marriages, those laws were overturned in 2015 for gay marriages and 1967 for the mixed ethnicities. But that's, if you think about it, that is not a long way away. Madonna was 9 years old at the time, and in 10 years she was going to head to New York and become a big star. Like, that's when the last of those laws went away. It baffles my mind. So they were both turned over, both for violating due process and equal protections. Equal protection means we weren't protected because, like, we're citizens. So that's why those were overturned. Hallelujah, great, moving on. Next up is the societal norms taboo, or as I call it, the we have to stay in power taboo. And a lot of money is put into this because it's about money. Just like when we're not supposed to discuss our incomes, that's a taboo. A lot of the equal pay for equal work stuff is happening. The Me Too movement is happening. Women are demanding, for example, that they are paid fairly because they're not. Ay. Can you believe that? Being fair is really, really expensive. That's also why unions are discouraged, because they take on the powerful companies who don't want to pay them what they're worth. Unions also invented the weekend, the 40-hour work week. They protected children from having to put their hands in machines because they were used that way because they were small. I'm not making this up. It was Another issue under this category is feminism and the suffragette movement, which said we want to vote, we are women, and we have voices and brains, by the way. So they fought for it and they got it eventually. People were killed, people were hurt, people were put in jail. Can you believe it? I still can't. I'm thinking maybe if I ask about Kim Kardashian, they'll have plenty to say. But do you remember the moral outrage that happened over the inter-ethnic and gay marriages? Again, that one overlaps, right? Because what are these all about? Votes. If you have a whole bunch of females coming in, they're like 50% of the population, you just doubled the amount of people who can vote, and they're probably not going to vote for you if you've just been a jerk to them for the last 100 years. Do you want those gays getting married? No? Come vote for me. The bad part about this is very often the same demographic that will vote for those social issues are also the ones that need more social programs, that need more money and tax rebates and all this stuff, which is why they need these social issues, so those people will come vote for them. It's manipulation. What do you want? It's politics. Now let's talk about universal taboos. These are things that are essentially against human nature type stuff, right? Stuff that you don't think anybody would do in the whole world. Yeah. Let's talk about cheating and stealing. Depends on the laws, depends who you are, depends how rich you are. Also animal cruelty, right? You'd think here that's kind of a thing. It's used as sport, it's used for fun. A lot of times it's used for food, very unnecessarily cruelly. Like if you're gonna use animals for food, which I don't personally agree with, you still gotta be nice to them, right? You still gotta have a system that is not completely inhumane. And voters again and again have voted for these measures, which it's a step in the right direction, I guess, if we're still gonna be eating them. What about murder, right? Nuh-uh. Here, murder is a bad thing, right? But in other places, it can very often just be the norm, especially in awful, awful places that are completely ruled by opinion, like North Korea. You can be executed for anything, at any time, for no reason at all. Kim Jong, what's-his-name, can just dislike your haircut. But what about rape? Nobody wants rape in the world, right? Yeah, it's often a norm. It's a complete cycle of male dominance that sucks, and it's violent, and it's awful, and people are killed, and oftentimes when a woman gets raped, well, obviously it was her fault, the hussy, and she can like go to jail or be killed or whatever. Maybe these are extreme cases, but these should not exist at all. But surely kids, right? Kids are protected. You don't mess with the children. Not in America anyway. No. Sex and violence happens to children all the time, all over the world. The poor ones are the unwanted ones. A lot of times females. Again, what is it with females? Why are they so picked on? Oh my God, I just don't get it. They're 50% of the world, and they're the people who produce all the people in the world. You'd think we'd be like nicer or respectful, but no. Moving on. So yeah, no, kids are absolutely brutalized, and oftentimes it's legal. There's something called the virgin cleansing myth. Go look it up on... I couldn't get through the article. I couldn't. Anyway, but guess who else is a victim? Guess... That's right! People who are disabled, who are blind, who are deaf, who are easy to pick on. Because these people, I mean, they're not worthy of society, right? It's always the othering. It's the other people we're blaming, and they're treated like garbage. Taboos have huge ramifications. It's not just about being bullied on a playground. But what about in America, you ask? I'm assuming you asked that because I'm not in the room with you. We don't do that stuff here, generally. And when we do, it is looked down upon to kill a baby, right? Okay, when I put in the word taboo, here's a screenshot of what Google returned. And a majority of them, if you notice, are about other places in the world, about women, and some of them are about women in other places. What about people who are homeless, right? We just ignore them. They're crazy, drug-addicted losers. It was their own fault they got that way. That's very often connected with war veterans who come back with problems and then we don't take care of them. That's a huge issue. Their suicide rates are through the roof. But who's talking about it besides advocates specifically for war veterans? Where's the cultural understanding that a lot of times the homeless is just because the economy sucked and they were left behind, and maybe that's why they have problems. Also, if you're poor, you don't have health care. You can't get the help that you need, so you get worse and worse and worse. These are very complex issues, but there's got to be answers that we can come up with, or at least attempt to in an open way without shunning these people. 4 more people have just said no. I'm beginning to feel like the Avon lady. Let's see how many no's we can get. Back back to people with disabilities. We don't treat people with disabilities badly. We build all these ramps for them. We're very understanding. We nod our heads when we see them in society. Okay, and then we ignore them, right? Look at this Google search that I did for taboo regarding disabilities. What do you see? Sex! Sex, sex, sex! Oh my god, how do they do it? It's fascinating. Do they have to get help doing it? It's entertainment through objectification, which, yeah, that's a taboo. Also, that is not a taboo. That's not what the taboo surrounding disabilities is. You know what the taboo is? How about looking them in the eye? How about looking any of these people in the eye? Right? The people that we ignore in society. How about shaking their hand? Saying, I see you. I'm gonna sit next to you during lunch. I don't know if I can help, but I value you as a person. And you don't focus on what's challenging them. They're not the wounded vet. His name is James. They're not Down syndrome boy. His name is George. Everybody is worth something. And it's ignored over and over and over again. They even take a separate bus. The short bus, right, as a joke. What if the only people you ever hung around with was 3 other people who were in your special education class and the thousands of other people in the high school? You never even met them, right? Why would you? They don't care. I don't even think that people who are different think about all this stuff if it's not your difference. Before I started living with my best friend, who is a person who is deaf, I never even considered the deaf community or all the challenges that they have to go through that I take for granted. I never thought about war veterans. I never thought about people with disabilities. I never thought about people with different cultures. I assumed they're fine on their own. They're happy being separate. For me personally, even as somebody who really wants to make a difference in that way, I didn't think about some of these issues because it wasn't my difference. It's my struggle, it's my fight. And there's so much that we need to open our eyes to, and I want you to come with me in this, or to just tell me that I'm an idiot and I should have known about all this before. But it means something now. And you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Not when you see. Might makes right. Trademark. That's a good one. Anyway, where does it lead? Legislating morality. And when you legislate morality, you get North Korea. What's never talked about is that the people who are in power, who are the majority, what happens if we're legislating morality and then things switch? Just one example of this legislating morality attitude is the woman who did not want to issue a marriage license to a gay couple, right? She said she was Christian. She'd been divorced 3 times or whatever, but she's still saying you're not worthy of being married. And what if that switches? What if somebody else legislates their own morality and there's some sort of misogynistic jerk who beats his wife who's a cop? So when he goes out to calls about domestic violence, he says, well, what did you do to deserve it? I have a wife at home, I beat her. What's wrong with that? Now, before I go on to the next part, I want to ask for you to subscribe if you think I'm interesting, because I'm trying really hard, and there's going to be a lot more videos coming out about all sorts of different topics. Tell me how to improve, tell me what you want to see on the channel, tell me what differences you have. I really care about that. I care about you. Okay? Anyway, so give me a like, push the subscribe thing, apparently it's free. I love my 16 subscribers. I'm hoping for like 5 more. I'm an optimist. Well, I never even got my chance to ask my questions. I've been around for almost 3 hours. Nothing. People either don't want to be on camera or I'm not wearing deodorant. So if you're in the majority and your opinions rule, you better stay there, because what if? We don't want to be taken over. There's a lot of fear. We don't know that other culture. So that's the, quote, real American backlash that's happening right now. Build the wall. Keep them out. Keep those other people out. They're not us. And that's unfortunate. Now, there are legitimate concerns, right? If billion people come in. How are we going to feed these people? Are there enough jobs? Can we talk about taxes or healthcare? These are actual issues that have actual answers. But saying there's going to be a taco truck on every street corner and not liking that idea is, one, weird, because who doesn't like tacos? And two, racist. I said it, I'm sorry. That was something a politician actually said. He said, if we allow all of them to come over here, we're gonna have a taco truck on every corner. And then Twitter went off about, really? That's awesome, where are these corners? I love Twitter. I came so close 2 times, and once again, when the subject matter came up, I guess people just kind of... I'm an open book, so I don't know why I'm surprised, but, you know, gotta respect it. So this is where taboos lead us. Yes, a taboo is ignore them, don't talk to them, but this is the real life result of fear, of not having a conversation. The way that you get over a taboo, the way that you break that taboo, is by talking about it. Now it's not a taboo, here's the facts, here's the opinions. We get to make a decision. What do we want to base our society on? I tried one more time to get somebody to talk to me. I walked over to 2 very obese women. There were 2 of them. One of them was in a wheelchair, and I thought, you know, maybe they would have a perspective a little bit better about stigmas. But I think I insulted them. I did not mean to insult them, but they just glared at me until I left, so yeah. It takes a lot of bravery for people who feel marginalized to take the first step, but I think that we can. And it's just fear of the other that keeps us from getting closer. We can get fetishized. Like I said, you can become that guy in the wheelchair guy. We're not seen as individuals, but we can also help them. Sit down at the lunch table with the mainstream, and you think you're gonna be made fun of, and maybe you are, but sit there anyway. Start a conversation, let them see you as a person. Go make a difference in whatever way you do. Live your own style of happiness, live your own style of making a difference in the world. I, for one, can't go back to ignoring all this. And there's always something that you have in common with not only other people with differences who are marginalized, but the mainstream. We're still people, we still love our kids, we still like cars. I mean, I assume some guys do. Girls, I don't know about cars, but I don't like cars. But we like music, right? Right? Music? All right, good. We see? We are bonding. Anyway, I've kept you long enough. Go ahead and attack me in the comments. Look forward to it. Like and subscribe and all that. I hope you found this interesting. All right, bye. This guy actually talked to me. He actually approached me. He wanted to know if I was leaving so he could use my parking spot. Oh, what a day.